Hello, everybody. My name is Kevin Deming, and welcome to my podcast called Perspective Matters. This is where we're going to be talking about a biblical approach to discussing how our perspective matters, and it shapes our understanding of how we see life, situations, and people in the middle of a problem. Hope you enjoy. Hello, guys. Welcome to my first ever podcast. I'm excited. This is episode 0. Yeah, I did my research and found out that you can actually have a 0 episode instead of calling it my intro. Here's what it's about. Here's what I'm going to be talking about. It is simply just going to be episode 0. By the way, why would we start with 1 if we could start with 0? So today we're going to start with episode 0. I'm going to talk a little bit about who I am, what this podcast is going to be all about, and maybe a few other little nuggets in there, or maybe not. But either way, we're just hopefully just glad you're listening and joining in. So one of the reasons why I started this podcast is simply because of the season of life that we are all in. Season of life where I've come through, the season of life where so many people are, and trying to get a perspective on what is happening in our world and with life and with everything. Now, the reality of it is our whole life has been, even before this global pandemic has hit, has ups and downs and hard times and struggles and joys and amazing things happening. And for us to be able to just pause for a little bit to think about what is our perspective on life can help us find clarity, a purpose, and meaning for us. Now, for me, I've been in ministry over 25 years and worked in small churches and larger churches and different places. And for me, my experience is simply that it's different in different places. A phrase that I've been using a lot lately has been this, is that everybody right now is experiencing differently. And the idea is that, you know what, we are experiencing different. We are experiencing the fact that the world is different, life is different. But in the differences, we're all still experiencing it differently. For some of us, we're having to be on the front lines and working every day in the middle of fear that you might be getting this coronavirus, or maybe you're someone who's had to work from home and adjusting to managing home and kids and work. Maybe you're someone who has lost a job, or someone who has been sick, or someone who's lost a loved one. No matter where you're coming from, you have a perspective on life. And today, hopefully, and following, I'm going to be looking at how you can have a perspective that comes from a biblical point of view. And so for me, and hopefully have some time, we'll be talking about spiritual encouragement. We'll be talking with some different people and interviews. I already have a couple on the radar that we're going to be doing. And just an opportunity for us just to see what are some different perspectives, and realizing that it's okay to have different perspectives. Let's just figure out what that means and how we can use that to relate to God. So a little bit about me. I have been married for over almost 26 years now, and I have 2 sons. They're 18 and 20, and my 20-year-old is attending online school in college, and my youngest son is a senior in high school who is about to graduate in this upside-down world. So we're still trying to figure out what all that looks like, as many of you guys are, and trying to figure out, wait a minute here, are we actually going to have graduation? If you are people going to be able to see it? What's it going to look like? So we're still dealing with all of those things at this point. For us, really, we're kind of in a place where also my wife and I went to Israel back in the 1st of March when I think at that time we had like 60-something cases in the United States of COVID-19. Went to Israel where there was approximately somewhere around 10 to 12. If you don't know, Israel is about the size of New Jersey, but there are quite a few people there. So at that time, I mean, it started coming about. We started getting a little fearful of everything, just hearing all the different things, and from the perspective of being in another country, when all of a sudden, day by day, everything's changing. They essentially kicked us out of the country and said, everybody go home. We're shutting everything down. And so we came home. In the meantime, I started having some symptoms, having some things where I wasn't feeling good, not thinking that I had it, but just thinking, what if I do? I don't want to spread it to anybody else. So we came home, quarantined ourselves immediately. Did not see anybody else or have any contact. We even didn't hug our kids. We wore masks when we walked in. try to keep everything as safe as we could. This is even before it kind of gotten to where we all really even we don't know what's actually happening with it still. But even before it started spreading like crazy in the U.S. So at that point, found out that I actually did get tested, found out that I had COVID-19. My family developed the symptoms, except for my youngest son, who lived the entire time we were quarantined around us, stayed pretty much away as best he could, never developed any symptoms. We don't know if he had it and didn't have symptoms, or just that he didn't get it, which would be strange living in the house and being around us. Even though we were trying to be careful, I still think he would have gotten it. So with all that, just been sharing my story. So that's kind of what brought me here today in a podcast, is that I have just found that for me during this season, I've had, I'm tired of watching TV, not really something that I am wanting to do. So I want to put a lot of energy in how can I do other things to encourage people. And so some of those are simply by sharing my story, talking about what God is doing in my life, and working with people to help them understand and get clarity on maybe their life perspective. So really, that's what this is going to be about. This is a podcast. It's going to be about really learning more about our world, who we are, who is God. I'm going to have some podcasts that are going to be devoted to spiritual encouragement and trying to encourage that. I'm going to have podcasts that are designed with interviews and different things. So hopefully you'll join in and connect with me over the season. You can also connect with me on Twitter at Kev Deming, Deming. Love to hear from you. If you have heard this podcast or you're following, let me know, and I'd love to connect with you there. Also, I have a Facebook page called Perspective in a Pandemic. And with that one, you can just find that online, search for that on Facebook, and jump in, and I'll be sharing these videos. I'll be sharing some insights and encouragement and some other things to really kind of in the Facebook world. You can also find me on YouTube. I'm going to be posting videos of this podcast on YouTube, and should be interesting. You can find me on YouTube by searching my name, Kevin Deming. Yes, there'll probably be about 3 other accounts that I have had in the past that I started YouTube, uploaded about 7 videos, maybe 10 or 12 videos, who knows. I'm not using those anymore, so find the one. You can subscribe to all of those. It's fine. It doesn't really matter to me. But I am going to be typically using this particular one that you'll find with newer videos on it. So check that out. Connect with me. Love to hear from you, and looking forward to connecting online. Well, thanks for joining in, and we'll see you next time.